back sometime soon. You can add a follow or follow me on Twitter for knowing when we're going to be playing what. So if you haven't checked out Hex before, I'd encourage you to stay in and check it out. It's a really sweet game. It's a fully digital TCG. It's like we lost... If you would like for me to stream more Magic Online, you should go let MTG Lee know how much of an awful decision turning off the legacy-friendly leagues is, and how annoying it is that leagues turn off at all. You should tweet at MTG_Lee and let him know that their decisions are the reason why I'm not streaming their game right now. Because I would love to stream Legacy, but I'm not just going to vomit money into two-mans. It's just not worth it. If you aren't familiar with Hex and you want to learn a little bit about it, you can check out this here. I'll go ahead and do my best to explain a little bit. So I'm playing a 2-color control deck in this game, and you can see here one of the big differences between Magic and Hex is that we each have a champion here. So you can see we have different starting life totals, my opponent and I. It's because our champions have different starting life totals. My opponent's troop here, you can see an animation going towards my opponent's deck. This is a 2/2 that when this or another Coyotal troop, that's its troop type, comes into play, the next troop in my opponent's deck gets +1/+1 permanently, which is kind of sweet. So I'm going to go ahead and play out my second Blood Shard here. And I'm going to go ahead and cast by Inquisition, which costs 2 resources and requires I have 2 blood thresholds. So you can see I meet both those requirements. I have 2 out of 2. I have 2 blood thresholds down here. I have to go ahead and look at my opponent's hand and take one of their cards away. And this is a great card to get to take away from my opponent. It's basically a draw 3. It says the next action, troop, and resource in their deck gets when you play this draw card. And I'm actually playing that card as well. So we're going to take this one away from him, so he doesn't get to draw 3. It's pretty close to the deck I've been playing in the last couple of gauntlets. Right. If your goal is to play the game competitively, it's definitely faster to just pay cash for cards, but you can grind the campaign in the Frost Arena into gold. Yeah, you're basically just picking how you're paying for your cards. You're either paying for your cards in time or you're paying for your cards with some money. Yeah, Waffleophagus, the link explains the quick differences too. I just like to go ahead and explain them as well here. So I just played this card, so you'll see the next card that we draw out of my deck will have the line of text when you play this draw card on it, and it won't normally have that line of text on it. My opponent's played a very obnoxious card, a Spell Shield and Rhino. So every time this card deals damage to me, my opponent will get a 3/3 Rhino troop. So we need to find a sweeper here ASAP. Real Rocks Art, check out that link. The answer is one of the tier 1 decks in the game right now costs about $100, but there are decks that are competitive, but they're definitely solidly like tier 2 for, as low as like $20. Since when do leagues turn off? Since Magic Online is a steaming pile of trash. That's how long. That's since when leagues turn off. Unfortunately, this game has resources in it, just like Magic, so you have resources in your deck, and we're flooding a little bit here. My deck also has a fairly high resource count, so we're expecting to draw quite a few shards in most of our games. We're playing basically a 27 resource control deck. And you drew another copy of Landing Pause Site, so every time this card hits me, my opponent makes a 3/3, and every time a troop comes into play, this card gets bigger. So we need to hit my sweeper pretty quickly here. Reap isn't bad. It lets me destroy a troop. And again, this one was prophesized by my Lanu Pause Site, so it's going to draw a card. I'm when I do this. So I'm going to go ahead and reap my opponent's troop and draw a card. How much time? I have no idea. I didn't spend time grinding. I don't know what the comparison is or how optimal it is or not optimal to be doing it. Yep, hexprice.com. Yes, and this thing has spell shield, which means I can't target it with my transmogrifate here, which would turn it into a worse troop. So we are exactly dead on board right now. That kind of sucks. So we need to hit a removal spell or a sweeper. That's not great. All right, we're going to pass this up, and our hope here is that this transmogrifade turns this Rhino into something with less than 3 power. This card isn't strictly a removal spell. It transforms a troop into a random troop that costs 1 less. So that's the goal here. I guess it doesn't even have to be a troop. It's a transforms it into an artifact constant or troop. So it could just like turn into something that can't attack anymore. Well, let's try this. He could have counter magic, and then we're just dead here. All right, and it turned it into a 1/3. So we're only taking 8 here, which gives us another chance to draw draw our sweeper. All right, would you kill? So my champion power here has lit up. This activates to create an Oracle Song to put it into my hand, which is a basic action that lets target player draw 2 cards. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we got 2 looks to find an extinction here, which we unfortunately did not hit. So we're going to have to pack it in, it looks like. Yeah, unlike Magic where we hide data, hexmeta.com, 100% of the data, or 100% of the decks that see play in Hex get recorded on Hexmeta, which is really sweet. All right, so what do I want to do in the reserves in this matchup? I think I want to bring in my Subterfuges as extra ways to discard his Runeer Hierophants. It's not a 1-for-1. It's kind of card disadvantage, but it takes away their card and turns it into something worse generally. And turn into Solar Aid-Mids, right? I think I boarded out Verdict of the Ancient Kings, so this only interrupts a non-troop card. I think I want to bring in Counter Magic and Refute, because these can be used to counter Runeer Hierophants. No, Hexmeta reports all of the data from all leagues played, or all gauntlets played, which are the equivalent of Hex leagues, basically. I think I want those. My opponent doesn't seem like he has a lot of very good troops, like individually powerful troops. So I'm going to cut some of these Transmogrifades. I think I'm going to go ahead and submit like this. It's possible I want these Vampiric Princesses because these punish my opponent for playing non-troop cards, but he seemed decently troop heavy. So I'm going to go ahead and just submit like this and see if we can get a better feel. The deck my opponent's playing isn't exactly an established archetype. It's similar to other decks in the format, but I haven't seen it specifically before. Hex Primal is a website to buy cards from. Think of it as Card Hoarder or MTGO traders. HexTCG.com or through Steam is where you actually download the game itself. So you can't download the game from Hex Primal. Hex Primal is where you would buy cards from if you wanted to pay cash for cards instead of grinding them. Yeah, Tom. The Hex Meta website, if you click on the Overview tab, it's fantastic. Yes, you can sell cards. The Hex has a full trading system. You can buy, sell, and trade cards. It also has an auction house for trading, which is nice. If you've ever traded on MTGO before, you know how miserable that is. So we're going to go ahead and play out my Exarch of the Acorn. This card's really sweet. It just has a cool design to it. It's a 1/3 with lethal for 2, which means when it deals any amount of damage, it kills the troop it deals damage to. But when this or another Venom type troop come into play under my control, it adds 2 Spiderling egg cards to my opponent's deck. And when my opponent draws one of those Spiderling eggs, I get a... So when my opponent draws this card out of their deck, I get a 1/1 that's unblockable. So I'm going to go ahead and cast Subterfuge here. The reason why I want to do this is my opponent has Ruinary Hierophant in their hand. I probably want to take it away. So my opponent has Arcane Focus, Verdict of the Ancient Kings, and Lanupause Sight. I'm going to go ahead and Subterfuge their Lanupause Sight here, because again, that card basically draws them 3 cards, so let's get rid of that. And this card doesn't discard it like Inquisition, but it turns it into a random different blue card. So my opponent, instead of having Lanupause Sight now, has a random Sapphire card in their hand. Yeah, mana-based theory is definitely applicable to building shard bases. It's a little bit different because the dual shards in this game, you have to pick one of the 2 thresholds when you play them, as opposed to them making both like a dual land. But the ratios are very similar. So what are some of my favorite Hex interactions? I love the... Actually, these are just like 2 of them right here. So Lanupause Sight, which is a card my opponent has. The Prophecies and the Spider Eggs are 2 of my favorite things. Can you get in trouble by Wizards from bashing MTG? No, everyone bashes MTG. Come on now. They know what they do wrong. This game is much closer to Magic than Hearthstone. So what my opponents put down over here is something that is worth talking about too. This is another interesting mechanic. This is kind of a combination of Morph and Suspend from Magic. So this is a face-down card that my opponent puts off to the side here. And at some determined amount, this card comes into play and gets cast. But we don't know what card is off to the side over here or when it's going to come into play. At worst, Wizards could DCI ban me for talking bad about Magic. But, like, whatever. Unlike a lot of people that play Magic, I'm a functional human being outside of playing Magic, so if Wizards decided they wanted to DCI ban me, my life would go on. I would still have work to do and things of that nature. Like, my life would not end if Wizards decided that I've said too many poor things about their mismanagement of their company, and that I wasn't allowed to play Magic anymore. Alright, so this is a card that's in my opponent's hand. So what Vampire King does is, in addition to being a 3/4 with Life Drain and Flight, every time Vampire King deals damage to my opponent, I reveal a card at random from my opponent's hand, and if the revealed card is a troop, I turn that troop into a vampire. That card's pretty sweet. So this is another Prophecy card. So whenever you play a Prophesized card, this card gets... This card gets +2/+2, and what does this do? The next troop in his deck gets +2/+2, the next action gets -2 cost, and the next resource gives him extra charges. So I'm going to go ahead and play my Lanupause Sight out here. Vampire King's a little bit different than Kalidas. Kalidas interacts with things on the board. Vampire King interacts with things in their hand. And Vampire King actually creates a really sweet dynamic for this game, which is creates a really sweet dynamic in the game that we're playing because it pressures my opponent to play the troops out of their hand, but then we have cards like Extinction in our deck that punish my opponent for playing out all of their troops. So I'm going to go ahead and reap my opponent's Lanupause here. Yeah, it flies and it doesn't grow. What is this? Oh, this is the card. Oh, that's really good. This is the card that I transmogrifated because you can see it's got Lanupause Sight over here. When this comes into play, another troop gets 1/1 in flight. So that's gross. He's actually going to make his Ruinary Hierophant fly. And now his Ruinary Hierophant flies permanently now. Do I think this game could get as big as Magic? I think if they continue with their sweet set design, this game could easily be as big as Magic. It's unfortunate that he keeps putting the cards from his discard pile back into his deck because our dragon here, when it comes into play, it steals a troop from my opponent's crypt and puts it into play under my control. This matchup actually seems pretty bad for us. So we play this resource out, which draws us a card because of the thing we prophesized. I'm going to go ahead and create an Oracle Song here. I'll draw 2 cards. Verdict. Okay, we knew my opponent had Verdict of the Ancient Kings. He must not have any troops in his hand. Let's see, just cracking with Vampire King again here. The important thing worth noting in this exchange is that my opponent's hitting us for more damage, but I'm gaining life, which is, not irrelevant. So, and again, you saw that card just get discarded when my opponent drew it, and we got a Spiderling. So my opponent drew one of the eggs that my Exarch of the Egg put into their deck. So Transmogrifade, he's going to turn this into a random 3-cost troop. That's not great. So I'm going to go ahead and block with my Exarch of the Egg here on his 3/3, and the reason why I'm doing that is because when I play my dragon out next turn, I want to be able to steal his 3/3 and put it into play under my control. However, Extinction says kill all your troops and draw a card, or kill all troops and draw a card. That was sloppy on my part. I missed a point of damage there. I should have attacked with my 1/1 unblockable spider before I cast the Extinction. Yeah, that was sloppy. Alright, and I have a counter magic and a giant dragon. So let's see what opponent does. Unfortunately, our opponent's going to be able to activate their champion power again here and put their... So what my opponent's champion power does is my champion power gives me something to draw cards. My opponent's champion power puts cards from his discard pile back into his deck. So these 2 cards are going back into my opponent's deck right now. And next time he draws those cards, they will cantrip. I think I'm actually going to counter magic this. Yeah, I just don't want him looking at more cards, especially after he put a Scary Runeer in his deck. Why did I transmog? I didn't transmog a landing pot site, I subterfuged it. So I'm going to go ahead and play Uranaz out here. Which this, when it comes into play, I get to take a troop out of their crypt. And every time it deals damage to my opponent, I get a troop out of their crypt. I'm just going to hold this shard for now. No reason to play it out right away. Sometimes, yeah, correct. That's exactly right. I got excited because I top decked a Wrath. I thought we were for sure losing that game, and I was like, ooh, candy! So my opponent drew a 5/5 Runeer. And he can put... He's probably going to put the Rhino from his 2 troops. Wow. That's definitely a mistake on my opponent's part. My opponent should have put both the troops from his crypt back into his deck, because now my Uranaz is going to hit my opponent, and when my Uranaz hits my opponent, I get to take a troop from his discard pile and put it into play under my control. Because the Rhino was a 3/3 and the Dwarf was a 2/3, right? Did I misread the stats on the Dwarf? And this Vampire King was prophesized, so it drew a card when it came into play. And it looks like, unless my opponent draws a Mass Polymorph Dingler, which is a one-sided sweeper, we're probably going to make it out of this alive. Alright, well, he found a Transmogrifade, and this one lets him draw a card because he'd put it back from his deck into play. A Necropolis Tablet, okay. So he Transmogrifaded my thing. So actually, if I get a Ruby Shard, I can just use this to draw a card every turn, which is sweet. What would happen if you reverted? I am not sure how that interaction works. And this actually kills my opponent. So Mass Poly Dingler turns all of my opponent's troops into 0/1s. And these Rhinos have Crush. So when I attack, he'll block, and then he'll still die. Yeah, so tokens basically don't exist. All created cards in Hex can get returned to hands and put into graveyards and shuffled back into decks. So there's cards that get created, but not that get shuffled back away. So I think because my opponent can actually put troops from their discard pile back into their deck, I think I'm going to get rid of one of the 2 of my big dragons and bring in a Charge Colossus here, which is just an 8/8 that gives me 8 charges when we play it. And charges are the things that let me activate my champion power. So this is basically an 8/8 that that draws 2 cards. I really don't think I want these transmogs. What other troops did he play? He has like Runeer Hierophants and like that's it. So I think I'm going to... Maybe I want these vampire princesses. I guess he has Lanupaw. 2 kills and 2 reaps is enough for Lanupaw, though. Maybe I want this extra Uranaz back in, or a Verdict of the Ancient Kings. Yeah, I'm going to bring in a Verdict to help fight his counter magic. 8-8 draw 2, yep. It's basically an 8-8 Muldrifter. But it's only an 8-8 Muldrifter in the context of the champion that I'm playing. So, like, everyone chooses a different champion, so what those charges do for you will be different depending on what deck you're playing. This hand's pretty reasonable. We've got Subterfuge to stop an early Ruinir Hierophant. We've got Extinction. We've got some card draw. So we need another Blood Shard because this takes double blood. And again, the dual shards in this game, when I play this, I have to pick Blood or Sapphire. It doesn't make both. Does Hearthstone not have a sideboard system? And another Subterfuge isn't bad, so we get to Subterfuge twice. I guess it's medium because this is technically card disadvantage, but we're generally turning my opponent's cards into much worse cards. Storm Drummer. When this enters play, that seems really bad. Alright, well, I'm going to take away my opponent's Ruinir Hierophant. Wait, does he not have another shard? He doesn't have another shard. Okay. Seems loose. Alright, well, I'm not going to Subterfuge again because my opponent doesn't have another shard right now, so I'm not really sure what I'd even want to take. Yeah, so I spent like 10 hours playing Hearthstone Limited in the free-to-play aspect of it, and I decided I wanted to dive in a little deeper and get into Constructed. I was like, okay, how do I buy a Constructed deck? People were like, well, you have to like grind stuff, and I was like, I just want to like give someone my credit card number and like spend $100 and get a Constructed deck. I didn't want to like jump through a bunch of hoops. My opponent should have mulliganed their hand, it looks like. Or each person plays multiple decks. That seems silly. So this Extinction was prophesized, so it draws a card. I'm going to go ahead and Oracle Song and see what we find here. Gives everyone that plays at least a 40% win chance. So the difference between 1-1 and 0-1 means that whether or not it gives you a resource this turn. Yeah, basically think of the 0-1 as this land comes into play tapped. So he discarded his Hierophant, and I'm actually going to take away his... Oh, wait. I'm going to take away his Counterspell here. Because he's got all these Lanupaw sites, so he's going to draw a bunch of cards regardless. Let's just take away his Counterspell. I pay to get maybe. Yeah, I wasn't into, like, paying money for packs and, like, maybe not getting the stuff I needed to build my deck. It seemed like a really bad system. Yeah, so someone asked about the 1-0 restore, and I'm going to play this dual shard out, and you'll see my resources are going to go up to 4/5 here. So this shard doesn't give me a resource for this turn. I don't get a resource used until next turn. How often do you keep one Sapphire shard? It depends on a lot of things, like the context of the deck too. The next troop gets, you may have it battle something, sure. I'm playing a lot of shards in my deck. My deck plays 27 shards, and three of them are Shard Prisms, though. So this shard we can cycle, which is nice. And we are getting a little flooded here, but opponent's hand was bad, so like a little bit of good luck and bad luck on each side. And we drew an Inquisition. Inquisition's actually a great draw because this will let us take away our opponent's Lanupaw site that draws a card. So we'll take away his Prophecy here. This is probably what we turned his... So I'm going to take away his Lanupaw site that draws an extra card here. This one, we got a draw on the bank on this Extinction here. So he plays out one more troop. We're probably just going to want to wipe him away. Make red just in case. I'm actually making double wild in case we Uzu or Uru one of my opponent's Ruiner Hierophants later. Yeah, there's just one currently. Hex only has 4 sets at the moment. They're supposed to start releasing a minimum of 2 to 3 sets a year, though, so I'd imagine they'll start a rotation at some point. Sounds like my oldest is awake, so after this game, I'm going to run and grab him out of the crib. Ooh, Vampire King that draws a card. Delicious. Delicious. Transmog, sure. So, this card's a 0/5 that every time my opponent plays a card, he gets 2 Spiderlings in his deck. Nice. If I download this game, I spend money for and play it for free and get rewards to build more decks, all free. You can either... There's 2 options. You can play... It has a Magic Online similar system where you can pay an entry fee to play in events and then earn packs based on your performance in those events. And there's also avenues where you can earn prizes by playing for free. The thing to know that's different about Magic Online, you heard me complaining about $12 Magic Online leagues. The gauntlets in Hex are $5, and you break even on them going 3-3. So with a 50% win rate, you break even, which is, much different than Magic Online. Still a little flooded, but opponent stumbled a lot this game, so we're doing okay. Tribunal Magistrate is a transmogrified Vampire King, so he turned my Vampire King into a Tribunal Magistrate. Which actually isn't awful, because this puts Spider Eggs in his deck every time he plays a card, and my Exarch of the Egg puts Spider Eggs in his deck. And this card says, my Spider Eggs get 1/1 for each Venom. Here's a Ruiner Hierophant that he discarded earlier. Let's go ahead and start an Inquisition here, see what my opponent's got in hand. I'm going to take away his Lanupaw. It's similar, yeah. It is a game that includes variants by design, like all TCGs do, but... So my opponent's loading up more and more eggs into their deck, which is nice. Every time my opponent plays a card, they get 2 eggs in their deck. Yeah. So at some point, we're just gonna extinction the board and then pop some spiders out. My opponent can't really attack in because my Exarch of the Egg is lethal, holding the board down here. Mass Poly. We're gonna hold on to that for now. We're just gonna let my opponent keep playing out things, and then they'll need to counter these extinctions, and then we'll get them with the Mass Poly afterwards. Yeah, so how gauntlets work is you play until you have 5 wins or until you have 3 losses, and you get 1 pack per win, and a pack's about $1.75, as Ian mentioned. And if you get 5 wins to finish your gauntlet, you get a bonus pack. So 5 going 5-0, 5-1, or 5-2, you get 6 packs. So basically you double up if you get 5 wins. Hexent has said they will never patch cards like Hearthstone does. They've banned 1 card in the history of their constructed format. And again, my opponent just keeps going wider and wider here, and at some point I'm just going to cash in these extinctions and get him. And every time he plays a card here, you see his deck's got 55 cards in it now, because every time he plays a card, he gets a Spiderling into his deck. Titania's Majesty is banned in PvP. Until he answers my Exarch of the Egg, I don't think I'm going to cash in any of these extinctions. And look, there's a Spiderling. And you can see my Spiderling has a green 3, which means it has bonus power. And, all right. And he transmogrifated my guy again. So, probably going to cash in the extinction now that now that I'm no longer getting Spiderling eggs in his deck every time he plays a card. I would kind of like to hit... I really haven't drawn many Oracle songs, or I guess I drew 2. Oh, I guess one of those was my champion power, right? Yeah, I've drawn. All right, so he transmogrifated my lethal guy into a seed pod here. So I'm assuming he's going to alpha here, and then on our turn we're going to extinction and extinction again if he counters the first one. We're going to take 3 here. Yeah, take 3 down to 14. And we drew a threat, which is great. So first extinction, he counters it. Second extinction. And I'm actually going to wait to play out this Vampire King. And the reason why I'm waiting is I really don't want to run it into a Transmogrifade. I guess he's already played a bunch of them. That's a tough call. Actually, I'm just going to play this out. We can have Refute next turn. He has another Runeer Hierophant here. It's annoying, but not the end of the world. He has Turbulence. That sucks. Kills our Vampire King. Let's play this out. Start by activating my champion power to draw 2 cards. We might actually be in danger of running out of threats this game. He's countering my Oracle Song. Well, I'm going to counter his thing. Counter back. Draw 2. I could cash in this Mass Poly Dingler, but I think I'm just going to play Exarch of the Egg for now because it holds his Runeer Hierophant at bay. Hollowed Ace with the brand new sub. Thank you and welcome to the stream, mate. I do appreciate the support. 137 out of 150 to the next long stream. I have to look at the calendar and see when this next long stream can be, because we're going to get there pretty soon, it looks like. Thank you for the support. Hopefully we hit one of my bombs here soon. I kind of wish I had both Urus in my deck right now. Kind of regretting my decision to take that out. I'm just going to pass the turn for now. He could draw more troops so I can get more value out of this Mass Poly Dingler. I have a counter magic here to protect it, so I'm not really super worried about him drawing. He turned my guy into a 1/1. Sight of the Sun, sure. He gets to battle my guy. Yep. So we're going to hit for 6 here. And then he gets a Rhine up. Then we're going to Dingler all of his guys into 0/1s. He only has 1 card, so we know Dingler's resolving. I guess we'll check and make sure the coast is clear here first. So we can save counter magic for something else later. Yep, taking away a card that draws 2 cards sounds great. Cast Dingler. And now we're looking for a threat. And unfortunately, a lot of the cards in his deck say draw a card on them because he's been shuffling them back in with his champion power. And it's like this card. He draws 2 cards just for playing it. So I think we're kind of in trouble. Got a counter magic Runeer Hierophant here. Hey, James. Welcome. Thanks for the sub, mate. 138. So his Harvest Moon draws a card when he plays it, so that's why he's playing it out, in case he gets counter magic or verdict here. And he's transmogging because it draws a bunch of cards, so he's trying to hit Verdict here. And we hit some Spiderling eggs at least. Does my counter magic resolve? Sweet. Alright, hopefully we hit Uru or Charge Colossus this turn. Yeah, the Winter Moon is definitely like... the Winter Moon deck goes over the top of other control decks that aren't also playing Winter Moon, so it's not surprising to me that this matchup seems hard. You want to cut Sandstone Needles? Yeah, card's definitely been awkward a number of times. Uru. Another shard. It's not great. And we can't even really start attacking, which is unfortunate. So we need these guys to defend against this. I drew a billion. I mean, we've also seen a lot of cards out of our deck. I mean, we're 34 cards into our deck. Did we cycle any Shard Prisms this game? I guess we did cycle 2 Shard Prisms. So we've seen 18 shards and 34 cards, which isn't that high compared to how many shards we're playing overall. So I'm going to double block here, and I'm going to kill his 3/3. Which he's got 2 cards and... Oh, crap. Kill doesn't kill artifacts, and this is an artifact. Whoops. Maybe I should have chumped and killed the 2/2. Now we need a live draw. Oh, that's technically a live draw. Okay, well that can race this guy. Maybe he just has a bunch of shards in his hand. That would be great. If he has another transmog here that draws a million cards, that would be bad for us. Uru. Oracle Song, Gas, draw 2. Would not be surprised if he has a Verdict to the Ancient Kings in there somewhere. Well, let's see what you're holding. Obviously not a troop. You'd have played that out. And a shard. Okay. Well, Vampire King has life drain, so we can start attacking here, because even if he hits us for 3, we're just like hitting him down every turn, which is great. We drew some Spiderling eggs. There were a bunch of eggs in his deck. Okay. Because he did cast a bunch of cards while we had the Venom guy out that he gave us. The question is, if he attacks with this, do I triple block? I think I do. Although we're hitting for 7 every turn. Hitting for 7's a lot. And like we're pacing him with this. Yeah, shoot. I think I might just... I think I'm just going to race. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'm just going to race him. I'm just going to take this hit for 3. There's the 3rd cycle shard. Into something that puts even more spooters into his deck. Attack with all my guys. 27 seems like... No, 27's fine. Look at all the spooters! Oh, we might pull this game out. Never mind. This card draws 4 cards. Oh, God. Oh, God. Casual kill my Vampire King, draw 4. Oh. This has been a tight game. Snap blocking here, I think. Yeah. If he has Ruinier Hierophant to follow this up, it's annoying, but... I'm not sure we're beating that regardless. These kills are super awkward. Alright. May have a battle and opposing troops, so in response to the battle, I'm going to kill this. Refill your hand, kill VK, right? Gains him life, too, from his stupid prophecy thing. Why would you play your Ruinier Hierophant? He was just baiting counter magic, I guess? Sure. This is game 3, I believe. I'm pretty sure this is game 3. I'm just gonna attack for 6. He's gaining so much life. Oh, what game? This is called Hex Shards of Fate. It's a fully digital TCG. You check that out. We can block this at least. We're still climbing an uphill battle. You know, it's really possible that I should have refuted the transmog on my guy that was putting spiders into his deck, because, like, spiders was our out to win this game long term. And if he just can't answer these spiders, and maybe he can brick off. He's got to brick off a lot. Yeah, I think we're getting pretty close to running out of spiders. I agree. I'm actually just going to leave one back. I think we just can't afford to. So I missed a point of damage. Alright. Spooters do whatever the spooters do. That's true. At a certain point, he's going to just, like, draw out. It's a 3-1, sure. I might just burn kill on this. He doesn't have a lot of good kill targets left in his deck at this point. He's putting cards back into his deck that gain life. Yeah, before blocks, I'm just going to kill this because I want to save as many spiders as possible for dealing damage and chump blocking. Alright, it's not bad. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a verdict here. So with that many draws in the bank, I'm actually going to leave 2 spiders back. I know I said I wasn't going to do that, but, like, that can propel us into some gas here. If we hit an Uru, we might be able to pull out of this game. Would you stream with someone, and if yes, who? I'm not sure what you mean by that question. Curious if opponent is mass poly. Yeah, we haven't seen a mass poly out of him yet, so. This game's been really sweet. It's like a lot of back and forth. Matchups tight. We both grind pretty well. Which, you gotta be more specific, man. Which control deck? Which game? Which format? Oh no, he's tanking. Tanking's not good for us. The next card in our deck draws a card, and the card after that likely draws a card too. We've got a Charged Colossus and an Uru in our deck still. Wish I would have put in the other grindy cards. I should have left. I wasn't expecting the game to go this long. Would really like a second Uru, obviously. DBs, man, I would check out this. I would check out these decks here. I might have to pull the trigger on this Extinction, honestly. Which, it's just sad, but, like, he's getting a lot of threats here, and I have to, like, like, double chump block. Oh, well, we got that going for us, so reap that guy. Thanks, Vol. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Yeah, I really, like I said, I started playing Hex because Magic Online sucks, but the more actual Hex I've played, the more I'm like, I just really like this as a game. I should keep playing this. We can draw some more cards and gain some life. We get some more spiders. It'll be interesting to see. At some point, the draws on all my opponent's cards are not optional. So at a certain point, my opponent's not going to be able to play cards without drawing out his deck. So we kind of just have to stall to that point. You can see he's shuffling in cards that require him to draw more. And, like, the fact that his cards keep gaining him life is really good. Wow, that one didn't draw cards. Look at that. Oh, that's really good. Target troop you controller in your hand gets all the socketed powers of this. That's really good. Because then he could end step a troop and then kill us. There's Uru, ladies and germs. So I think I'm going to attack with 5 spiders here and then jam Extinction to clear the board. And then I'll play Uru afterwards. He has counter magic. Okay, no counter magic then? Except, let's get his Giant Hierophant. Play this, draw a card when we play it. Pass the turn. And again, this is why I got Wild Shards earlier when we could, because now I have his Hierophant, and it is Spell Shield and makes Rhinos. Well, Eagle Claw, he got this. This can give target troop you control or in your hand. So we can give a troop in his hand this. And he got this from a transmog, so. What a nuts game. Win or lose, I'm pretty happy we played this. Ton of back and forth. And every time Uru hits my opponent, we get to take a troop from their crypt and put it into play under our control. Oh, it's basic? Okay. So he could give something quick in his hand right now, though, and then play it out during our end step. What other troops does he have in here? Anything good? Oh, he put the good troops. Oh, he's got a Gigantosaur in here. 7/7. Okay. See what he's got. Yep. Gain some life. The fact that he's just been able to gain so much life is huge, too. I don't think any of his things have flying, though. Are there still transmogs? Most of the transmogs are in here, right? And even, like, transmogging Uru isn't even that good. Because when you transmog Uru, it turns into a random 6-drop. And a lot of the 6-drops are pretty scary. Man, he's down to 14 cards in his deck, too. I'm aware that I'm low on cards, but, like, I can basically stop drawing cards when I want. All of his cards, just to, like, keep playing Hex, he has to play cards that draw cards. And Reap have some good synergy, I agree. I am also down to 12 cards, I know. And actually, are there Oracle Songs left in my deck? Oracle Song is target player, which could be really relevant. Like, the fact that Oracle Song can target my opponent is nuts. He's going to fight my Spooter, sure. Like, we might Oracle Song my opponent to draw them out at this point. Oh, that's... Okay. Well, we're getting into scary territory here. Have I used all my extinctions? 1 extinction... 2, 3... Is there still an extinction in my deck? It looks like there's still an extinction in my deck. He's giving one of the troops in his hand quick. Okay. That's pretty good. If he has a verdict, he might play it here. I think I still want to draw targeting myself here. What do we have left in my deck at this point? Did I use my counter magic already? I used my counter magic. I used my refute. I've used most of my inquisitions. I have like an extinction as a safety net. I'm gonna ship with both of these and see what happens. I might save this this next Oracle song to target him. So he has to block this. That's a weird block. I would like to activate this. I think I'm just going to take the 7/7 because it's good against Transmog. Yeah, I'm actually going to play this shard out too because next turn I can play another shard out and then I can double Oracle Song my opponent if we need to. He's only got 10 cards left in his deck. It's a lot of Starcaller Ancients. And some of those cards were spiders. That's great for us. So he's down to 7 cards in his deck now. And again, there's another Spiderling Egg. Down to 6 cards in his deck. And Uru just keeps hitting him every turn. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Are we going to deck him? Good Lord. He's got 1 card left. Oh, are we going to do it? Are we going to do it? Are we going to do it? Oh, God, this game. This game's been great. Lit up. I can't believe we're going to win this game. I think we're going to win this game, baby. I feel like all of his counterspells have to draw cards at this point. Oh, man. This is not divination. This is target player draws 2 cards. And we've got a shard and an activation here. Wow, what a match. What a match. "21 cards in his hand. Can you beat me? 21 cards. GG. GG indeed, opponent. Well fought on both sides. Whew. All right, I have to take a short break. I'm going to play a couple more matches of Hex, but I have to run upstairs and grab the kids out of their crib. They've been waiting. So I'll be right back. They've been very patient. Thanks for hanging out, folks. Alrighty. Well, thanks for waiting. My oldest is actually still asleep. My younger one's up though. I'm glad I was streaming for that match. That last game was 6. Yeah, there's 61 cards here. I'm a slob. Any chance of Big Red today? We can't play Legacy currently. We can't. There's no Legacy leagues. We played one match. We beat Miracles. Was a good time. We added a second Battle Skull back into the deck. We cut the third Titan. And then I got upset because Magic Online said I wasn't allowed to play Legacy leagues. Truly unfortunate. Because I wonder if there's ever been a product in existence that people wanted to like more than Magic Online that continually kept coming up short. All right, this champion, we're gonna mulligan the 7-chart hand. The champion, ooh, no blood is another mulligan, unfortunately. And then I'm going to, this hand's not great, but I'm going to keep it. I'm going to restart Hex here real quick. So this is my normal, for people that have never seen me stream Hex before, my normal disclaimer. I am streaming Hex on an unsupported platform. Hex only officially supports Windows and OS X. I am currently streaming Hex from a Linux computer running through Wine software, and it runs pretty well. Occasionally, if you've seen me stream before, occasionally it does this weird bug out with the white background, but you just reload and it works fine. But unlike Magic Online, which I have to run in a Windows virtual machine to stream, Hex runs through Wine, which is great. Very, very minimal issues. In fact, that's the only issue it really has, that occasionally it does that. Oh, my opponent also mulliganed to 5. God bless him. The Azure Cannon deck's in a tough spot. I really like that deck. I think it's easily one of my favorite decks in the game, but it just feels like it keeps coming up short. No, Magic Online barely runs on Windows. It doesn't run through Wine. So my opponent's playing an aggressive troop-based kind of burn deck. This card, every time it attacks, it gets +1 power permanently. And if my opponent has another troop when this attacks, it's going to give its power to that other troop. We really need this turn 4 sweeper, even if we hit the shards, is probably going to be too slow on the draw in this matchup. My opponent has this card, Combat Training, that gives the troop he targets +1 power permanently. So he did that to this twice, and it had Rage. And whenever this deals damage to me, it returns all combat trainings from his discard pile to his hand. So we're going to get attacked for 11 here. So I need to draw a Sapphire Shard to use this Transmogrifade next turn. It's not basically Zoo. I'd equate the deck my opponent's playing more closely to like a blue-red Delver Burn style deck. It sometimes they have interaction to protect their troops and stuff like that. Or we're just going to die. Soul of Battle. This gives it Crush and deals double damage. Okay. So we're taking 12, 17 this turn. So we're actually going to be in an okay spot if we draw a Sapphire Shard for this Transmogrifade. Okay, we did not, so we are dead. Sad day. Hand was not very good against the draw that our opponent had, obviously. I'm going to cut my top end here. I'm going to trim some of the extinctions. I'm going to trim some of these verdicts. I'm going to trim the Lanupause Psyches. We don't need the big grind. I think the Oracle songs are enough. I'm going to bring in my cheap interaction and life gain and my Vampire Princesses as cheaper threats that can also gain me some life. I like Refute. Actually, maybe we'll just leave one Verdict of the Ancient Kings in. Yeah, I think that's fine. And actually, I'm going to cut one of the Shard Prisms and bring in another piece of early interaction. So I'm boarding out my 7 and my 8 drop. I'm going to leave both Verdicts in, I think. first. Yep, this hand's pretty good. It needs a second. It needs a second blood shard to play out this vampire princess, but other than that, this hand's actually very good. It's got 3 reserve cards in it. And actually, if we draw a sapphire shard, we can cycle the shard prism to get our second blood. So. And we drew the second blood shard right away. So we can go ahead and play this and play our Exarch of the Egg out, which is lethal, so it's also just good defense against his early guys. And this Vampire Princess has a lot of text on it, so let's look at it for people that haven't played a lot of Hex before. So this is a 2/3 with Flight and Life Drain like the Vampire King. And like the Vampire King, every time it hits my opponent, we get to look at a random card from their hand. And if the revealed card is an action with the Vampire Prince as opposed to a troop with the King, we steal that action and turn it into a Vampire Kiss. And then this has an extra line of text. This card's got a lot going on. It says, at the start of your game, if Vampire Princess was in my opening hand, it gains the ability, once per turn, make all kisses free. So she's basically going to be able to, I had 2 kisses in my opening hand, she's going to be able to make these kisses both free for me, which is awesome. And we drew another princess. I'm going to make sure, I'm actually going to play out the princess that doesn't make the kisses free first, because if he has a removal spell, he's likely going to want to spend it on this one. What sleeve is the opponent playing? I'm not sure. It looks like the second year Hex birthday. I'm assuming from the 2 in the cake. And my opponent mulligan to 6 this time and is missing shards. Opponent's deck must mulligan a lot. To get our second Sapphire. Double blood is everything we need to play our cards out in this deck. And if we hit an action here, Princess will take it away. And this deck has a lot of actions in it, so pretty good chance here. And we hit a Seeing Red, so it's going to take that card away from my opponent and turn it into a Vampire Kiss. And you can see this used to be Seeing Red. And play out a second Vampire Princess, and that's probably going to end the game, especially with the ability to play all of these for free. Opponent concedes. Like I said, 2 Vampire Princesses and like the kisses. He didn't even know we had extra kisses, which is great. We didn't have to show him we had extra kisses on our deck. I don't think we want to change anything in the draw. I guess maybe it's possible I want Subterfuge. This card can turn combat trainings and things and other things that are more expensive. Nah, I'm just going to go ahead and hit submit, I think. Maybe I want Counter Magic. It's kind of, the different, Counter Magic can hit troops, but it's kind of tough to cast. Hitting double Sapphire can be difficult in this deck. We only have 5 Sapphire shards and then 4 dual shards plus Shard Prisms to cycle. So this is very much a blood splash Sapphire deck. Yep, this hand's pretty reasonable. It doesn't have Vampire Kisses in it, but it's got Princess and Exarch in it again, which Exarch's one of our best cards against aggressive starts. Again, we don't have a second Blood Shard, but if we don't draw anything, we can cycle the Shard Prism and get a turn 4 Vampire Princess, which is nice. Of course, we have a lot of Blood Shards in our deck. We haven't drawn one, but there's a chance that we could just hit this naturally. I'd like to say thank you to got about 250 people hanging out here this afternoon while we play some Hex to close out the day. There's a lot of different things you should be doing, different people you'll be watching, so thanks for choosing to watch some Hex here on a Wednesday. Tuesday? Today's Tuesday. On a Tuesday afternoon. Apologies. All the days blur. The nice thing about leading Exarch into Princess here, into Vampire King, is that if my opponent has a Crackling Bolt that can deal 3 damage to a troop, he's likely going to want to expend it on the Exarch of the Egg, which means that the Princess is more likely to stick. That card's pretty good. This card has an ability called Shift that he can, while this has this ability, this can't be blocked by troops that have less power than it, but he can put that ability onto a different troop, which is kind of sweet. I'm just going to go ahead and play out Vampire Princess. He didn't kill the Exarch of the Egg, so I'm assuming he doesn't have an action to enable him to do that. I'm just going to play out Princess and pass. And like even if there aren't actions or troops in my opponent's hand, just the fact that this is a 2/3 life drain and this is a 3/4 life drain is usually enough to pressure these aggressive decks if they can't kill these vampires. Never didn't have it. Exactly. Crimson Bolt, that's pretty good. So that explains why he didn't kill the Exarch of the Egg. This card does 2 damage to a troop, and then it does an additional 4 if that troop has flying. So my Vampire Princess is going to be nice and toasty here. And then he has Seeing Red for this, and I'm assuming he's going to shift over his Death Mask Assailant onto this. So yeah. So now instead of this not being able to be blocked, I can't block this one. So this is a 5/3 that can only be blocked by troops that have power greater than his. And he forgot to activate his champion ability here. Okay, he did it post-combat, so opponent missed a point of damage there. So I'm actually going to go ahead and take the turn and reap this 5/3. It's the scariest thing my opponent has going on. They've only got 1 card in hand, and we're at 20, so feeling pretty comfortable here. We're going to go ahead and play out our shards all the way up to make our champion ability go off, probably. Might cycle this Shard Prism as opposed to playing it out, but we'll see. I think the Ragefire Thunderfield version is more powerful. Hollow Dace. This version is less expensive. Yeah, this is like the budget configuration. I think the other one's slightly more powerful, or maybe even a lot more powerful. My wife's been playing Boris and the Ragefire version. My wife also I think Ragefire is Christy's favorite card in the game. Opponent can't answer my Vampire King and just concedes. Really, D-Money. All right, Dad's going to play one more match, and then we're going to hang out, okay? And Mom will be home soon. Maybe we'll go to the pool. Would that be fun? We're 3-1 in this gauntlet now, so we get to play at least 2 more matches, possibly 3, depending on how good or bad they go. Matches are firing really quick today. Another Bombus deck. I'm going to keep this. This hand really needs a Sapphire Shard, but it's pretty good other than, Exarch of the Egg is very good in this matchup if my opponent's not on the all-flying version. And, if we hit a Sapphire Shard in our first 2 draws, this hand is just, insane in this matchup. The Uru obviously isn't great, but the rest of this hand is just totally lit. There's at least 2 to 3 popular variants of Bombus. Remind you of a Scorch, too. Ugh, he does. Please no Phoenix. Please no Phoenix. Please no Phoenix. All right, well, we didn't get Phoenix, so we got that going for us. Come on, Sapphire Shard. Come on, Sapphire Shard. Come on, Sapphire Shard. I'll settle for any shard, but Sapphire Shard would be what we want. All right, take any shard. We're on curve to cast Extinction on 4. Again, this deck might be... Hands like this just aren't very good in the aggressive matchups. The Sapphire Splash can definitely cost you some points. He's going to get to activate his champion power now and crack us for 5, it looks like. If we would have hit Sapphire this turn, we could have transmogged this. So we want to hit any shard that makes a temporary resource next turn, and then we'll go ahead and Extinction and clear his guys away. We're still at 17, which is medium healthy. All right, another blood shard. Let's go ahead and clean up. Oh, Phoenix is double Ruby. Good call. Good call. I always forget that. And I love that the threshold system exists like that, so you can have free cards that require you to have certain thresholds. And just scorches us because it draws a card, probably digging for troops. Come on, Shard Prism or Sapphire Shard? Alright, that's castable at least. Helps keep us alive. Uru at some point will be good. We'll get to take his Skarn, his 4/3 Skarn back into play, which is nice. This unfortunately can't kill a Bumblebot because Bumblebots are artifacts. Come on, Sapphire shot. We got 10, 12? Yeah, guess. So we get to play this, so we get to play Lanupause Sight, and this Lanupause Sight should propel us into winning this game, I think, from 16 life. Especially with a Verdict of the Ancient Kings up here and a Transmog. Alright, we're not countering just a burn here. He's just playing that to activate this, I assume. Yeah. Seeing red. Okay, that's fine. Combat training, yep. I'm going to transmog this, which reverts it, which means it's going to turn back into the base form. And then it turns into a void this. Put target champion's crypt into a second target champion's deck. That's interesting. So wait, he can put his crypt into my deck? Put target champion's crypt into a second target champion's deck. That's so weird. He's probably going to do it. I'd do it. I'd snap put his 10 cards into my deck. I guess he has Phoenixes, but like a lot of these cards are bad for me, right? I guess Sight and Focus aren't bad, but like until I hit a Shard Prism, the rest of these are just dead. Yep, he's putting his crypt into my deck. Yep. Watch me just draw Ruby cards for the next 4 turns. Extinction, draw a card. We'll pass. Uru just got worse. 5/5 flyer, still pretty good. Or a Reap, yeah. There's a Reap, okay. I'm actually going to cash in this Extinction just to draw a card. I want to hit some shards. That's really unfortunate. So we're going to get max punished here. We're going to get attacked for 3, and then he gets to draw a card every time he plays this, so he's going to get back into this game here a little bit because I'm not holding kill up. So we're going to 9 here, it looks like. That's really unfortunate. Would have just held this kill up. I think we're supposed to cycle the Extinction there, though. There's a combat training that my opponent put into our deck, making it worse. Still worth transmogging thing, obviously, but, you know. Interesting outcome. We can kill plus Verdict here, which is nice. Resolves. And I am going to let him go ahead and grow this, because when we, if we steal it with Uru, I want it to be as large as possible. This is game 1, right? This is the second Bombus deck we're playing against. I believe this is game 1. Alright, I know pause sight. Watch this go on to 3 Ruby cards. Yep. Opponent and I are having opposite issues. He's flooding and I'm stumbling. God, seriously? Want to draw Vampire King. We're going to Verdict whatever he plays post-combat. Wow, he just did it for 3. So the Flickering Gobbler, that's tough. Well, we actually just have to play this because it draws 2 cards when we play it. I would like to be able to cycle it to get Ruby, but this draws 2 cards when we play it. Okay. That's so gross. So we're going to discard this combat training that we can't cast. Oh my god, you know what we can do? Oh, alright. I don't know why that's in his main deck, but God bless Verdict of the Ancient Kings. We can Uru back one of his Gobblers and then Reap it. That's so hot. That's so hot. So we're going to Uru back this Gobbler this turn because I want to be able to attack with the bigger one. And then next turn, we'll hit him with the Uru and then return the other Gobbler to play. And then before that Gobbler dies, we'll reap it so we can cast these things. If he draws Electrofry this turn, another Electrofry to empower, we are dead. But I think we definitely have to play the Uru out to block. Alright, he had a shard, so we should be winning this game. No, he has another one in here. He has 2 Gobblers. I can't play the Skarn. I need a Ruby. So probably doesn't block because his life total is less important than mine. He might block. There's a chance he blocks here. I don't think I'd block if I was him either. Little does he know that our Reap is about... Oh, I did the wrong Gobbler. I could have gotten 1 more point of damage in with our Gobbler. Whatever. It actually doesn't matter. Reap this. Get Ruby. Play this. God, this game was sick too. This game was sick too. Oh, just tons of sick matches today. I mean, I'd have done what our opponent did. I'd have put... this is going to be my last match of the day, Monty. Why, Hex, why are you so fun? Exactly. All right, Kisses in, Princesses in, Transmog, Refute in. As good as Uru was that game, Uru and Dingler out. I think I'm going to cut a couple Extinctions. And I cut the Lanupause sites last time, right? We did win with all of his cards. It was great. I'm going to leave 1 site in as opposed to leaving another Extinction in. Opponent has slightly less troops than last one. We didn't see Quash Ridge Tusker out of our opponent, so I think he has slightly less troops, so I'm not going to leave in all the Extinctions. That was genuinely a lot of back and forth. Sweet interactions. Yeah, we did win with his cards, yeah. And, like, that's... The interactions that happen in this game just aren't possible in a game of Magic. It's like, they're not. This hand's a little bit slow, but I think I'm going to keep it. We've got Reap and Kiss, which are both very good. Charge Colossus is just another bomb in the board. And because we're playing Dreaming Fox, 8 charges means draw 2 cards plus. So Charge Colossus is basically an 8/8 that draws 2 cards when it comes into play. Which is just like, I'd play an 8/8 that draws 2 cards when it comes into play. So we're playing Charge Colossus. Vampire Princess makes this hand excellent. It's a little bit worse because this wasn't in our opening hand, she can't make Kisses free, but still pretty good. Opponent having a shard doesn't make a temporary charge on 1 is good for us. No turn 2 threat either unless he finds a Skarn off this Arcane Focus. God, we drew really well. This hand was a medium keep, and now it's just excellent with the 2 cards we drew. And we're definitely taking his Lanupause site. Yep. Seeing red and combat training? That's gross. Alright, well, I'm glad I have this Reap. I'm gonna Reap this as opposed to Vampire Kissing it, because Kiss can kill a, Kiss can be used to kill a Flickering Knob Gobbler later down the line, since this is a basic action. Walks with Shadows. There's a number of Yule Tool decks that seem super reasonable at dealing with Runir. Zigamot's game is also good. Oh, that's gross. He has 2 Crackling Bolts. I say I wanted to clear the way for our Vampire Princess, but he's got 2 ways to kill it now. It's unfortunate. So we're going to probably draw with Oracle Song next turn as opposed to just running this out to die. Flickering Knob Gobbler, yeah. Combat training is very good. He might just Crackling Bolt me to get a guy onto the table here, which would be great for us. Yeah, because he's got the combat training in his hand. I mean, this is a good line from my opponent. He's got to pressure us. And his last card is going to be Scorch then. And then he's going to have combat training and Scorch stuck in his hand, and I'm going to have a Vampire Princess to gobble him up. You know, I'm not sure, Shadow Zord. Yeah, price memory is definitely a thing in games like this. I'm just going to kill this and play the Vampire Princess and pass the turn. The other thing, too, you have to realize, Shadow, is that Reese is a set 1 or a set 2 card, I believe. So, like, there's more people playing Hex now than we're playing then. You can still buy set 1 and set 2 packs, but they're not being drafted, so they're harder to get. So less of those cards are being added to the card pool on the regular. Couldn't draw 2 cards here. Just all of the draw cards. Let's go ahead and attack with Princess here. Have at least a 2/3 chance of getting an action out of his hand. And we hit his combat training, which then becomes a kiss for us. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and play Shard Prism out. We've got plenty of cards, so we don't need to cycle that. And I'm going to go ahead and play a second Princess here. Oh, you know what? He showed us Electrofry last game. I shouldn't have played out the second Princess. If we get Electrofried, I'm going to feel real bad. I'm not sure, Druda. I don't keep up on the limited type stuff. Much like Magic, I just play Constructed here. Alright, there's a Gobbler. His opponent playing the Burn deck. It's pretty... No, this is... our opponent's playing a McBombus deck. The burn deck, the $10 burn deck on my link is a Yule Tool deck. It's a blood ruby deck. Our opponent's playing a ruby sapphire deck. I'm just gonna take the hit from this so we can go ahead and. What was my record Saturday? I finished 4-3. I started off strong and then tapered off at the end. Oh, you know what? I should have Inquisitioned his Flickering Gobbler right here before I attacked. Alright, we got a combat training, so now we get to take this away. Just take away all of his things. This matchup seems pretty good for us post-board. Game 1, it's definitely hard. Like, you saw the one match we got run out game 1. This configuration of the deck I'm playing is also fairly different than the deck that I played on Saturday. I really feel like I've worked out a lot of the kinks in the deck between Sunday and now. I've been playing a lot of Hex, and I've worked out a lot of the kinks. I guess he can't empower Electrofry for 2 more turns. All right, let's draw with this. I just say I might not play out the VK, but Electrofry only does 3 damage until he can empower it. So, yeah, especially with another VK in hand, let's just play this out. Play this out. Princess is very good. Maybe. I'm actually on 5 Sapphire right now. And I'm on 3 Shard Prism, so technically there's 12 Sapphire sources. Correct. It could have been much worse. I should have Inquisitioned first. Definitely should have Inquisitioned first. So I'm assuming my opponent's holding a shard, or maybe they could have a combat training or a seeing red. No, burn, yeah. Definitely just burn me here. I went 5-0 in one gauntlet. I went 4-3 in a second gauntlet with this deck, but I also played very poorly in 2 of the matches. I feel like if I would have played tighter, I would have definitely won 2 of the other matches that I played in the gauntlet where I went 4-3. The deck's definitely not easy to play. This is one of the more complicated decks I think you can play in Hex, which is definitely true of a lot of control decks in every game. All right, looks like we got him. So we're going to be 4-1 in this gauntlet. I am going to be taking off for the day. I want to hang out with the kids. Like I said, my oldest should be awake from his nap soon. He's been napping for like 4 hours, so. And my youngest is ready to play. So thanks for hanging out, folks. I appreciate it. Remember, Thursday afternoon is Hex Thursday, so instead of just closing out the stream with some Hex, we play Hex all afternoon, starting at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. So thank you, everyone, for hanging out, and I'm going to get these archives uploaded in case you missed any of this stream or any of the other streams. So thanks for hanging out, folks. I'll find someone to host, I guess. I guess that's a good thing. We'll find someone else I like to host. Penta's on.